Morning everyone, my name is Lawrence. Football season is over. Obviously this is a little bit scripted, so not scripted, but this is unscripted, so I'm going to be mumbling all throughout this thing. Football season's over, so away goes FIFA, and in comes Brian Lara Cricket. Now this is a game which was released in 1999, which I think is the best cricket game ever. And I've been playing this for years, and I've decided to do a YouTube special where I'm going to recreate all Cricket World Cups. Now, the Cricket World Cup in this PlayStation game is based on the 1996 World Cup, which was 12 teams, 2 groups of 6. The top 4 teams go into a quarter-final, semi-final, final, knockout phase, and the winner of that wins the Cricket World Cup. This is going to be, if you just mind me, this is going to be the imaginary trophy in which the teams are going to be playing for. I know it's just a bubblegum machine thing, but I think pretending to lift it up after you've won the tournament is a great feeling. Now, what I'm going to do now is reenact all the previous Cricket World Cups from 1975 onwards to 2019. There's been, sorry, I'll have to count on my hands, 79, 83. 12 World Cups, and I'm going to reenact them all, albeit it may take me a few years, because I'm only going to do this during the summer months, because when football season comes back, I will quit playing Brian Lara Cricket and go back to FIFA, and I'll do that, and any achievements I do on FIFA, which are worthy, I'll put on Instagram. It won't be on YouTube. But this is to obviously make sure that I get the stats right, I get the innings right, when I commentate on the actual games themselves. You won't be seeing them live, I'll just be doing match reports. So there's 37 games. I'm going to reenact the 1975 Cricket World Cup, which it's not going to be completely accurate because the first 3 World Cups were held in England. Well, the 1979 and the 1983 World Cup I'm not going to hold in England because I need to swap round. There's 8 countries that can host the World Cup, from Australia, England, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, West Indies. Those are the 8 teams in which can host this tournament. I'm going to show you what the group is like and who's the favourites and everything like that. So I'm just going to swap the thing around. This is the actual draw for the World Cup. As you can see, the opening match is the United Arab Emirates against Pakistan. In Group 1, United Arab Emirates, Pakistan, South Africa, West Indies, Kenya and New Zealand. I should point out, South Africa are not going to be known as South Africa because they're banned for the first 4 tournaments. So this is 1975, so apartheid's still going on in South Africa. So I've decided to replace them with a rebel South African 11, which have been allowed into the tournament. So South Africa are not known as South Africa, they're known as a rebel South African 11 side to make up the 12 sides. Remember, there isn't many test playing nations either. So in Group 1, Pakistan, West Indies and New Zealand are the main 3 test playing nations. West Indies are the favourites. Well, we'll see what happens when you have a look at the second group, but West Indies should win the group. They are the favourites. Toss up between New Zealand and Pakistan for second place, and then third place, New Zealand and Pakistan. Then it could be any of the United Arab Emirates, Kenya, or the Rebel South African 11. Rebel South African 11's almost made of players that are not getting a lot of cricket because of apartheid, due to the unfortunate situation there. But the opening match, as you can see, is United Arab Emirates against Pakistan. I actually just want to show you something because the host nation of this tournament is going to be, if we go onto the map, England. So we've got we've got six grounds: Lords, the Oval, Birmingham, Nottingham, Manchester and Leeds. Those are the 6 venues for this tournament. So England are the first ever host nation of a World Cup. And now we go on to Group 2. Sri Lanka, Australia, Holland, England, India, Zimbabwe and England. Once again, there's only 3 test playing nations. Sri Lanka are not a test playing nation yet. They become a test playing nation in 1982. So England as host nation should be favourites. Australia, though, obviously with their history, will also be... It'll be a toss-up between those two who win the group. India haven't played a lot of one-day games in the 4 years. Remember, one-day cricket's only been going 4 years at this stage. Zimbabwe, not known as Zimbabwe in the first 2 tournaments, are known as Rhodesia. They become Zimbabwe in 1981 when I refused to say his name because he became a horrible dictator. Turned them into Zimbabwe, and Holland and Sri Lanka are associate members as well, along with Rhodesia. So Zimbabwe are going to be known as Rhodesia this tournament. So again, pay attention to that. Looking at the groups, I'd say England are the favourites as host nation. West Indies would probably be second favourites. Australia third. And maybe Pakistan fourth favourites in the tournament. Now, you've seen that. That is the draw for the group stage of the World Cup, which I probably will start playing today. Like I said, it's not going to be just because obviously I do have a life outside of work. So I do have a life outside of this. This is just during my free time. But as well, during every World Cup, I'm going to pick 20 players which I believe will make an impact during the tournaments. Now, in this instance, I've picked 5 Australians, 2 English players, 2 Indian players, 2 New Zealand players, 2 Pakistani players, 2 Sri Lankan players, and 5 West Indian players. I think these will be the 20 players that will make a key impact, and match by match we'll go and see what their performance over the entire tournament is. You'll see all the statistics and all the details, and this will also play a part in potentially the player of the tournament, although the player of the tournament could be anyone else outside these 20. But I should also point out is that obviously none of these players played in 1975, like Mike Taylor and Michael Bevan and Glenn McGrath, so then these are going to be... They're going to be known as alias names. Like Mike Taylor will be known, like Michael Bevan's going to be known as the legendary captain Ian Chappell. Devon Uto's going to be known as Ross Edwards. Glenn McGrath's going to be known as Dennis Lilly, because that's the closest to him in terms of stats and everything like that. Michael Atherton is going to be known as the English captain during the 1975 World Cup, which was, well, he weren't the captain. Demis Simis. Yes, Dean Headley is going to be known as Jon Snow. It's going to be known as Jon Snow. Asif Karim's going to be known as Farouk Engineer and so forth. Brian Young is going to be known under the alias of Glenn Turner. HB Davis is going to be known as Dale Hadley, etc., etc. Waka Yunis is going to be known as Shafwaz Nawaz. Stuart Williams is going to be known as the legendary Captain Clive Lloyd. Dylan Bishop and Rose are going to be known as Andy Roberts. Franklin Rose is going to be known as Andy Roberts. Mervyn Dillon, Brenda Julian, and Ian Bishop and Keith Boyce. So all of these are going to be alias names, so you'll get used to it as I go in. That is the guide to the first ever 1975 World Cup, which I may start later on this morning. It all depends, but it will take time. There'll be 37 games, there'll be match reports on all of them. You'll see all the statistics, see the final results, and see whether the favourites will do well. We open the tournament up with Pakistan versus the United Arab Emirates. Should be a comfortable win for Pakistan. Cricket can be a funny game at times, but in 1975, the associate members hardly ever got a look in. So we'll have to wait and see what the actual computer decides to do as I'm playing. Anyway, that's the guide to the 1975 World Cup, and I hope to see you all in the next episode of the 1975 Cricket World Cup on Brian Lara Cricket. Bye-bye, everyone.